I finished Horizon Forbidden West, and I wanted to talk about some things that I had a problem with. And I know most people are praising this game, and I'm not going to tear it down. I think it is a fantastic game. I want to be clear up front. It is the best looking game I've seen on a console to date. It's unbelievable, the talent that Guerrilla Games and Sony First Party have. And the fact that it's cross-gen is just ridiculous. However, I do think that the review scores, the general Metacritic score, is accurate. And one of the reasons is that I feel like they expanded upon everything. So the exploration, just the world in general is so much more, I don't know if the word's layered, because there's so much going on when you're just out in the world. There's so many different layers to everything. And then the grapple hook gives you that verticality to explore in addition to the old ways that you explored. And then, of course, the world is so large now that there are complete underwater sections in addition to above ground that you can explore. The gameplay changes depending on what environment you're in. So there's a ton that they did. This is not more of the same. I'm seeing a lot of people say that it's just more of the same. And those are people that I just think are really stuck in this sort of, one console mentality. But there is an issue that I had with the first Horizon that I was hoping would be corrected. And I'm not looking for like 100% better, but just a little bit better. And the first is melee combat. Melee combat has not been improved. And I don't want to say at all, but it just doesn't feel like it to me. It doesn't feel like melee combat has been improved at all. And the example I'll give you is, so I like the way that the focus now can highlight different parts of each machine, and you can actually tag specific parts of the machine depending on what it is you want to get off that machine. So for instance, you can figure out where's the weak spot, and your focus will tell you, like, here's the weak spot. Do you want to tag it? And each tag will be an individual color so that when you turn the focus off and you're in the middle of combat, you can focus on that one particular spot. But it feels like if they're giving you that ability to lock onto one specific spot with the focus and then go back into combat, maybe there should be a lock on in general when you're fighting. And I know that they don't want that because they want 2 or 3 machines to be able to attack you at once and you're able to fight them at once. But the melee combat is just so, it just feels slow to me. Even the quick, R1 attack is just slow, and that, strong attack with R2 just takes forever. And if you hold it in to get an even stronger attack, forget about it. You're going to be sitting there for about 3 seconds while a machine knocks you down. And that's the other problem that I have. When Aloy gets knocked down, it's almost like she's out for the count for at least like 5 to 6 seconds. It takes forever for her to get up, and it's just disorienting. And I don't feel like they really honed in on the melee combat. And when I saw this gameplay reveal here, I felt, wow, it looks so much more fluid and so much more refined, but it never really feels like that when you're playing it. And I do know that they worked to get it at least better, but it just, for me, it doesn't feel like it managed to get there. Now, that's not to say that it's completely unplayable, but again, when you look at things like this here, you get the sense that the game was going to be so much more refined when it came to melee combat, and you can pull off things like this, but it's not fluid the way it seemed like here, and it just feels like to me that they really didn't focus enough on the melee combat, and some of the things that you can do with your weapon are just kind of pointless. And it's a little bit disappointing to me because, when I saw this, it looked really cool to be able to pull off these moves, and you can, and it's not that I'm just bad at video games, it's just not fluid enough. And I feel like they should have focused a bit more on that aspect of combat, because the bow aspect is phenomenal, especially with the DualSense, and I like all of the additional things that you can do with your bow now and the upgrades. The next area is the climbing mechanics. They are just not great. There's a real lack of finesse when it comes to Aloy climbing things and clambering up things. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel fluid, and at times it feels like she's just stuck and you're waiting as you press up on the stick to get her to climb. It's like, what's going on? She's she's just stuck there. It's weird. There's this weird animation sometimes that happens. So that's my take on Horizon Forbidden West. I think the game is phenomenal. The fact that the map is as large as it is and it opens up completely, and when you're done, you can just explore, and flying on that glint wing or glint hawk, whatever it's called, is absolutely incredible. I just felt like the melee needed to improve from the first game, and it just really didn't for me. So after finishing the game, that's my take. I really did enjoy the game. I just felt like those two areas in particular stood out for me, especially when compared to the overall package, which is just so amazing when you just first boot up this game. It really is just amazing that they got this level of graphical fidelity on what is essentially PlayStation 4 tech. So other than that, I think you'll have a good time with the game if you go into it knowing that there are obviously issues, and any game has issues, but those two, I was a little bit disappointed. I really was, because I liked Horizon Zero Dawn. I just didn't like the melee combat, and I had heard that they were going to fix that, or at least attempt to make it a little bit more approachable, and I don't think they got there with Horizon Forbidden West. But that's just my take. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If you liked the video, please think about hitting that like button and maybe even subscribe to the channel.